The protagonist of our story is Ben Walker, a boy of just 6 years old who has not been treated too well by life. He had not been lucky, neither he nor his father William, his only family since the tragic death of his mother in a car accident just over a year ago. The misfortune that surrounded his family was something that the little boy was very aware of. Despite his young age, he felt and suffered each of the miseries that struck their lives. However, and to everyone's surprise, including his father, who knew him best, this little boy did not decide to stand idly by and watch his father suffer. Ben was determined to change things and find the solution they so desperately needed. And it would do so in the most unexpected and surprising way of all. But before we get to that emotional moment that will leave you speechless, let's first put you in context and explain a little more about the heartbreaking story of this brave boy and his father. As mentioned above, Ben and his father, 40-year-old William Walker, were going through terrible circumstances since the tragic and unexpected death of the boy's mother in a traffic accident in which a motorcycle ran over her while she was crossing the street. It was a tragic event that shocked everyone and left her husband totally devastated and alone with a 5-year-old child he felt unable to raise without his beloved wife. In the absence of Ben's mother, William had taken on the role of sole caregiver, struggling to make ends meet. Financial difficulties often meant that meals were scarce, and Will sometimes went without food. And as if the death of his wife were not enough, William also had to face the fact that without the income of his wife, who was a high school teacher in the town where they lived, it was impossible to pay all the monthly bills and support a young child. The reason why the marriage depended so much on his wife's work was that William had never had a stable job. He was an artist, and as he always insisted on clarifying when his relatives suggested him to look for a better-paying job. An artist loves art for what it is and what it makes him feel, and not for the money it can bring him. However, now that his life was on the brink, and he found himself unable to fill the fridge with food every week, that statement no longer made sense to him. After becoming a widower and realizing that he could no longer wait for his artwork to sell, William tried to find a new temporary job to make some quick cash. However, his lack of work experience made it very difficult for anyone to hire him. Even for the simplest jobs, there was no place for him. Finally, after more than a month of knocking on the doors of all kinds of businesses and companies, William got a job as a pizza delivery man. It wasn't a job he felt comfortable with, and it didn't pay well either, but at least it was a job. It was a start, and he thought that if he accumulated some work experience, it would be easier to find other jobs later. But the truth is that it wasn't. As the months went on, William not only hated working delivering pizzas, but after several complaints from customers who received their pizzas late and cold, the owner of the pizzeria decided to dispense with his services, sending him back to square one of his problems and making things even worse. "I'm hungry, Dad. Can't we eat something other than frozen lasagna? I'm tired of always eating the same thing," asked little Ben to his father every day when he saw that the menu of the day at home had not changed. After being laid off and using up what little savings they had, William was forced to cut back on food expenses as much as possible. So, the menu for the week was usually a mixture of pre-made lasagna, pizza, hot dogs, bread and canned soup. A very undesirable diet for a young child who is developing, and potentially detrimental to any adult who wants to keep their energy levels at optimum values.
Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story.
"I'm so sorry, honey. This is all we have. But soon we'll be able to eat all we want. You'll see. I just need a little more time, a little more," answered the father, trying to convince himself that what he was telling his son was true. Eventually, it got so bad that the food rations weren't even enough to feed the two of them. So William would go days without food to make sure his son didn't go hungry. "Daddy, have some pizza. You don't look so good, Daddy. Please eat some. Look, I still have a slice left. Take it," the boy said to his father, worried about how bad he looked. But Mr. Walker refused to eat from his son's plate, even though he was dying for it, and it would make his throat ache with hunger and thirst. However, his son, only 6 years old, was not about to allow his father to languish in such a state. The boy suffered in silence as he watched his father watch him eat and slowly waste away, getting sick so that he would not go hungry and still have 3 servings of food a day. Ben was determined to turn things around, and he would do it in the most unexpected way possible. It provoked the solidarity and compassion of hundreds of people. The turning point came when Ben and his father were in the kitchen with the television on, and the boy heard on the news that inmates in Texas prisons were receiving a mandatory 3 meals a day. The little boy, who was desperate, completely misunderstood the situation and what the news meant, coming to the unlikely conclusion that his father's arrest would guarantee him regular meals and prevent him from continuing to go hungry. The little boy continued to listen carefully to the rest of the news and could see several prisoners with their trays full of very varied food. The prison food didn't look delicious, it's true, but at least it was food and would allow him to be healthy again, reflected the little boy as he stared at the TV screen and plotted a plan to save his family from starvation. After lunch, Ben knew he would have a couple of hours to carry out his plan. His father, despite his hunger and his poor appearance, always went out for a couple of hours in search of work and some food in the surrounding area. The boy knew he wouldn't have much more opportunity to carry out his plan, so as soon as his father left him alone to watch cartoons, he hurried to put on his coat and rush off to the nearest police station. "Don't worry, Daddy. You'll soon be able to enjoy a hot meal," the little boy said to himself as he walked as fast as his little legs would allow him to go. Finally, he arrived at the downtown police station, opened the door with force, and did something that would leave everyone there speechless and totally shocked. "Please, arrest my father! Please take him to jail!" shouted the boy in the lobby of the police station, which was crowded at the time. Ben's tearful plea played out at the local police station, where the trembling boy approached the reception desk with his small fists clenched in despair. The room fell silent, and the officers exchanged puzzled glances as they took in the weight of his words. Agent Rosa Garcia, known for her gentleness, rushed to Ben's side to offer him the comfort and reassurance he so desperately needed. She cradled him in her arms, carried him to a nearby bench, and assured him that he was safe. Afterwards, the officer ordered them to go find the boy's father and arrest him to clarify the situation. "Calm down, little one. You're safe here. Nothing bad will happen to you," the officer assured little Ben, who kept crying and begging for his father to be taken away. However, what police officer Garcia did not expect was the real reason why the little boy had gone there to ask them to arrest his father. "My father is starving to death. Please take him to jail. He will be assured of food there. He has stopped eating so he can feed me. He is a good man, but we are in trouble. Please, officer, help us. Take my father there so he won't starve to death," explained the boy in tears. The officer was speechless when she heard the real reasons why the boy had made this strange request to the police, but she instantly understood the difficult situation that the boy and his father were going through. "Calm down, Ben. We will help your father, and we will help you too. You did the right thing by coming here. No one is going to starve to death, I promise you," said Agent Garcia to the boy in a sweet and calm voice. A few minutes later, William, stunned and grief-stricken, was arrested at street level and taken to the police station, while Ben remained there with police officer Rosa Garcia. Their emotional reunion, marked by tears and hugs, left officers and bystanders deeply moved by the strength of their bond. "You didn't have to do that, my boy. Dad is fine. I'm so sorry for putting you through all this," said William to his son in tears, giving him a tight hug. "You don't have to go through all this alone, Mr. Walker. There are ways to help families in need. You are not alone. Your son has been very brave to come here. Now everything will get better, I assure you," said Agent Garcia to Mr. Walker, seeing how distressed and embarrassed he was by the situation his son had caused. And Agent Rosa Garcia was right, because never had there been so much solidarity in the area as during the weeks following the day when little Ben burst screaming into the police station. In the weeks that followed, Ben and his father's heartwarming story resonated throughout the community, prompting an outpouring of support and solidarity from everyone to help the family overcome the serious problems they were facing. Hundreds of volunteers organized so that both Ben and his father would never go hungry again and would have the means to get by at such a difficult time. They even managed to get him a new job as a helper in a small grocery store so that he could begin to tackle his financial debts and stabilize his life. The impact of Ben's petition went far beyond his own family. It succeeded in breathing new life into the community, turning the police station from a symbol of fear into a place of refuge and community for many others like Ben and his father, who were having a really hard time. And so it was that as William and Ben's lives found a new direction, their story served as a powerful reminder that even in the face of adversity, love and compassion have the power to change lives. Their beautiful story has shown us that sincere actions, motivated by love, can have profound and unexpected consequences. Ben's brave plea has ignited a wave of compassion that will undoubtedly leave a lasting impression on his community, reminding us all of the incredible power of empathy and kindness. Did you like this touching and surprising story? If so, we invite you to leave us a comment expressing your opinion.
If you want to continue enjoying inspiring stories like this one, subscribe to our channel or check out the other videos shown at the bottom of the screen.
Thank you for your cooperation.